personally thank all of you guys who decided to join us today to talk about strategies to being able to get students for back to school. So as you know, here in the Kaminsky household, we've got lots of amazing things happening. So we've got our kids going to school. I've got a junior in high school, a sophomore in high school, and a middle schooler in 7th grade. But then on top of it, on Sunday, we are getting our very first exchange student, which we've never had that before. And so we are excited to be able to get an exchange student. So we've been planning for that as well, along with the back to school. And so we've got a lot of exciting things happening. And this is just an exciting time of year because as the kids are going back to school, this is the time where people start looking for tutors. So I've already had people contacting me left and right for tutoring because their child has already started school. So lots of schools have already started in August, like the first week of August, the second week of August, and you have more kids that are going to be going back to school in September. So there's lots of people who are already starting to look for tutors. And so what we're going to be doing today is brainstorming ideas of things that you can do to be able to promote your services for this amazing back to school time. And I've brought with me here today the amazing, the great.
No.
She's very humble, you guys, but you know what?
Not the great part. Come on.
Terry Grigsby the Great. No, it's our thing. It's our thing. You're Terry Grigsby the Great. Come on.
A lot of pressure.
She's blushing. You guys may have also noticed that, not only does Terry get amazing, she's being able to get out there and get students, but she also has another amazing thing that's happened in her life. And I'm so proud of her. She has recently, now the last I knew, you had lost 130 pounds.
Yeah, well, I'm up to 141 now.
Oh my gosh, 141 pounds. So taking a look at your before and after picture that you posted on the Ultimate Support Group for Online Tutors, you're just like, holy cow, you lost like a whole person.
I lost a whole person. And thank you everybody that was so supportive of me doing that. But you know what? We all sit around all day on our butts, so we got to do something about it. So
amen, sister. Yep. Amen. And that's actually why I became a jazzercise instructor because you know what? Other streams of income are not a bad thing. It's not like an extra job, right? I was always going to jazzercise and that kind of stuff, but becoming an instructor meant that I had to up my level of intensity to become an instructor. And it also gave me the ability to not ever have an excuse to not go.
That's good.
So yeah, so I absolutely, it was the best decision that I made inside of my business. And we do sit around a lot in our business. My kids think that I just sit on the computer all day. I'm like, yeah, but I'm actually working, you guys. My one daughter now, she's actually had to go on out there and get a job. So she's working at Myers, which is like a grocery store / department store. And she's like, Mom, you don't know what work is.
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, whoa, hold the horse, stop the train. There are a few things that you don't know about your mother. Okay. Like here are all of the jobs that I have had in my life.
No kidding. How dare you, youngster?
Right. I'm like, I had to work my way up to this. She's like, but you get paid $75 an hour and you just sit there on the computer all day. I'm like, that's right. It's called I got my education. I educated myself to find out how I could do what I wanted to do all the time. Yeah. Kids, I mean, come on now.
What are you going to do?
So you guys, I want to hear from you. If you are out there and you are joining us right now, I want to hear who you are, where you're from, what you tutor, things that you are struggling with as you're thinking about getting students. Let's put this on mute here. There we go. All right, we've got Rosemary Blash in the house. Woo, woo. We got Kathy and we've got Kim. Thank you for joining us today. And introduce yourselves inside of the chat as well so other people know where you're from, what you tutor, all that great stuff. And again, any kinds of things that you're struggling with as you're thinking about getting students for the fall. Now, you had an amazing summer this summer, Terry, didn't you?
Well, I had a lot of people, a lot more than I thought. I know you make me tell this story every time.
You know what? We had to recap it. While we were here, we totally had to recap it for sure.
All right. So last summer I didn't have anybody, and I thought, because I'd asked in the community too. That was my first year of doing tutoring, and I asked the other math tutors if they'd gotten people over the summer, and they all said no. I thought, okay, well, you can't get people in the summer. That's what I thought after the first year. And then the next spring, I thought, well, that's ridiculous. People must need to study math over the summer too. So I changed my mindset and changed my actions, and I ended up fully booked this summer. So it's been wonderful.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Now you had also, because of this mindset, you were trying to like work more hours throughout the school year to prepare yourself for a big dip.
Yes.
And then you had some life circumstances happen. You were in and out of the hospital for a couple of different things and had less hours, didn't end up making as much money as you wanted to. And then we're blown away with being book solid.
Thank God.
Awesome. Oh my gosh.
Things are going to happen like that in our life. So, I mean, I'm not different than anybody else, but I definitely was trying to every month during the regular school year, pack away money for the summer. Because it isn't as busy as regular year, even though I say fully booked, it's not as fully booked as I am in the fall.
Right.
So that's been my plan all along.
Yeah. And then that's just one thing to kind of throw on out there for you guys is that there are times that are, it is a little bit of a roller coaster. You know, sometimes you have too many students, and then there are times where you don't have as many students as you'd like. But I always find that those dips don't last too long, that if you follow the steps and strategies that I talk about, you guys, which is constantly creating content and quality content, not just like random content that doesn't mean anything, but if you're creating content, getting the word out there, you're building up your social media, you're building up your online presence, you're going to get to the point where you don't have to constantly seek out your students. They will begin to find you. And that's what's happening to me right now. I have not put one piece of content out there this year to advertise my services because I'm putting more time into helping the tutors, but it hasn't stopped people from reaching out to me and seeing if I'd be available and be able to tutor. And don't ask me if you can have my students, because you know, once I get a student, I kind of fall in love with them, and I don't want to give them up. So
I just want to be like you, where I don't need to advertise. One day maybe.
Well, it'll happen because I mean, between referrals. So I asked one person, like, where did you find me? She said it was a referral from a past student. I had another person who said, I Googled you. So Google my business, guys. I mean, that's a really simple thing that everybody can do to be able to get found online. If you fill out your Google My Business profile and create a business. Now, you do have to have a home address. So if you're renting, I don't think that's going to be the best situation, because you can't say that you have a business out of your home if you are renting. That might...
You can't?
I don't know.
I don't know why you wouldn't be able to.
What if you move?
Well, then wouldn't you change your address? Or is that a whole big thing with Google?
I don't know, but that's a good question. If anybody knows the answer to that, let me know.
Well, by the way, while we're on Google Business, you had mentioned this, I think this spring, about putting reviews up on your Google Business, and I had never done that. And last spring, I had my students, my parents, as we were leaving for the year, put ones up, and my business has gone, people finding me that way lately. And I know it's because of those darn reviews. So get reviews and have them post on there.
Absolutely. So the way the game works is the person with the most reviews gets seen at a higher spot. So underneath a map of when there'll be a map, and then there'll be like 3 choices, and you want to be one of those 3 choices for sure, so that people can see you. But you can beat out the bigger companies like Sylvan and Kumon and all those places just by having more reviews than them. And you don't usually need that many. So I started just funneling everybody to give me a review right on inside of there to get my numbers on up. And I started showing up as number 1 when people would be typing on in reading tutor. They might type in like reading tutor near me or reading tutor, and then they find out that where I live. So I just did an assessment last night with a student who moved forward. She's from Menominee Falls, not too far from here. And they don't mind working online. So don't think that, oh, well, if I do that, they're going to expect that I am an in-person tutor and I don't do online. I do open it up and I say, I'm willing to do in person, but I usually do online. You can pretty much tell which I prefer when I say that, right?
Yeah. I don't even give them that option. I don't even play with in person at all.
I do if they ask, like, do you ever do in person? I'll be like, yeah, I have a couple of students that come to the house. Most of the students prefer to do it online.
Yeah.
And if they ask me, which do you prefer? I say online.
Sure.
And it goes from there. So I don't have anybody who's really balking about doing it online or having their tutoring sessions online. Some people just don't understand what it means. And then you can clarify it from there. Have you had any problem with getting people to say yes to the online at all?
No, but I know I'm good at selling it because that's what I want to happen. Like the things you want to happen, you'll find a way to have a better discussion to get that to happen. And that's something I did from the beginning of my business. I was like, I'm going online because I need to make full-time income. And the only way to do that is online so that I can get more people in during the day.
Yeah.
So, some people say that to me that they want in person, and then I sell them on doing it online. And there's been a lot of discussion in our group about, do we need a website or not? Well, one of a good reason to have a website is I have a video up there that shows them exactly how online works and the benefits of online. And if somebody says that to me after we have our discussion, I'll send them that link. They go watch it and then they're sold. I mean, I just don't have any trouble anymore getting people to do online.
Yeah, and having a website, you guys, which is step one of my 5-step process. And you guys can get that all free. If you go into the description of this video, you'll see a link to it. But having a website allows you to get found accidentally because you'll be able to put in keywords onto your website that are the exact keywords you want to get found for your business. And so you are just opening up the doors by getting a website. Now, that does not mean you're going to have a flood of students that come in, but you can direct people to your website, which then makes you look more professional than all the tutors that do not have a website, right?
Yeah, and I can't believe how many people have told me, you have a website? I'm like, yes, it's the 21st century, so yes. So apparently there's a lot of tutors that don't, so you must be right about that.
Yeah. And so, but I want to get found accidentally. Like what it feels like accident. Like I don't want it to feel like I have to seek out every single one of my students one by one. That's a lot of work.
Accidentally, that's humorous given how much time you put into making your website and tweaking it.
You're right, but like
and accidentally to find me.
right, because you're planning it all out, right? Like the accidentally.
Exactly.
But
come
that's
into my web. Come into my funnel.
You know what's so funny? The people that find you, they're like, oh my gosh, I totally like accidentally ran into you. They'll use that word and was like, oh honey, you have no idea. I planned every step of that. It was no accident. But I would say today it does feel like an accident because like I said, like I'm not putting anything out there. Yes. So this is that whole you sow and you reap series, right? Like you don't sow and reap in the same season. So I did put a lot of stinking effort into my business right from the get-go when I had more time. And now that means that I don't have to spend as much time on doing that. Now we had a question from what type of content do you suggest for reading tutors to post to attract clients and provide value? I'm going to tell you about my very favorite post that I did last year. It was a story about one of my students who had moved, who had gotten on grade level. And it was just so impactful for other people, I think, to see the type of growth that a student could make. And the images that I grabbed to be able to write this blog post were based off of images that the parent had posted during that time. And so they correlated, they aligned, but not only that, I kind of wrote the blog post in correlation with the parent. So I didn't make the parent do any of the writing, but I said, hey, I'd love your feedback on this. Can you go through it? I asked first permission. Would it be okay if I write this story? She said, yes. And then when I wrote it, I said, I know that I don't remember all the facts about this. And I would really love your feedback to make sure that everything is accurate. Because I've had many students since. And so she worded things differently than I would have worded it. Like instead of using the word temper tantrums, like I threw on in there, she said, dealing with feelings that are bigger than her.
No.
I thought that was an amazing way to describe it, because this little girl was dealing with feelings that were bigger than she could handle in her tiny little body, right? And so I'm like, oh, I love that. So I rewrote it exactly the way the mom had stated it. And I feel like it ended up being a better blog post at the end of the day. The mom shared the blog post featuring Ruby's success with her Facebook group, her friends, everything. And I ended up getting 3 clients based off that. So it
Wow.
doesn't always have to be content that they're going to be able to do something with or get something out of. They just need to be able to sometimes see the types of results that others that are struggling are able to get. So don't ever get stuck into I always have to create content that is going to be something actionable that they can take an action on and they'll be able to do. Sometimes it's a story that you're able to share that will capture their hearts and make them want to move forward with you. So that's one thing that I did that I loved. It was an amazing experience. Now, Terry, what type of content do you create?
I do stuff like that. I mean, I do it all over the place. I do stuff like that from my own experiences teaching or tutoring. And then I do a lot of math stuff because I want to be an expert in my field. And so I think people want to see that you can do the math like that, and to see that you're approachable and that it's not really hard the way you explain it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of videos like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen your videos in a while. Are you still creating your videos?
Yeah, I kind of died off this summer. I kind of took a little rest this summer. I mean, I was still working and everything, but I'm going to kick back in again. I have
Yeah.
a whole series planned for geometry, so stay tuned.
Good. Because I was like, gosh, you know what? I actually don't think I've seen any content from Terry coming out. That's good. Isn't it awesome?
But you don't need a ton of content. I mean, as a high school and college tutor, you just need enough out there that people can see and go watch your videos and say, okay, well, she knows what she's talking about. She'd be okay.
Well, and you bring up a really good point, because it's not always about creating content, but sharing content. So you had a great series last school year that you did on testing, on math anxiety, right?
Right.
And so if you end up going into Quora and you start looking inside of Quora for people that talk about math anxiety, you could share videos that you've already created in the past. And it could be more about repurposing, resharing the content you've already created, because that's evergreen content. None of that ever changes, right?
Right. And I have done that. And I also did a back to school blog my first year, and I've repurposed that over and over again. This year I changed it into an infographic that I spread out. Repurpose stuff, because that's exactly what parents are looking for right now. And that sets you up to as, oh, she knows something about going back to school. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Kim was wondering, do you have any suggestions for how to connect or advertise with schools and staff about your tutoring services? And I know you've actually reached out.
Yes, I do.
So tell us all, Terry.
This is like my accidental people calling me. I totally plan. I contact all the high schools in my area, and I've actually gone much broader than my area, and I make sure I get on the tutoring list for one. And second, for high school, I contact counselors. Individually, I write individual emails to each counselor at a school, and I tell them what I'm doing and what I've done, and that I'm looking for tutors. And just this week, I got somebody from a school district that I've never even taught at. A parent called me and they said, oh, I got it from the counselor at Westland High School. I'm like, yes, things like that. Like, I'll get referrals so many times from that. The other thing that I did this last school year, I was a home instructor for high school, which is for sick kids that can't go to school. And you go, it's only like 5 hours a week, and you go and you help the kid, you collect all their homework and bring it back and forth. And because I did that, and I made contact with that counseling office and all the math teachers, I've gotten referrals from that for just, I only did that for like 3 weeks for that kid. So if you can think of a way to work with the school so that you can become better known, that gets you right in the door. And that's maybe even better than subbing, because people, can see that you care about what you do and that you're doing a good job. And, and make a point. Don't just do it and stay quiet about it. When I was doing it, I said hi to everybody I saw, receptionists, counselors, teachers, everybody. And when I was all done, I said, at the end, I was like, I'm an online math tutor too. So if you have anybody, and I'd love to do more home instruction, they're like, yeah, that's great. And I've gotten a bunch of referrals from just doing that this last spring. So think about ways that you can be helpful to the school and they can get to know you, because that will help them. You'll rise above everybody else that's on a list because they'll know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, do you have to, because these are kind of local schools that you're talking about here, especially like with that one student, do you, Kim wants to know, do you have to persuade them at all for the online portion of it?
I really don't have to. I don't get very many people that want in person. Since I've started, I maybe only have ever had 3 people that want to do in person, but then I think I met with a couple of them in person, and then I said, okay, let's try online. And I talked to the student first about it because they're the most receptive to online, right? And then they talked their parents into it, and boom, there you go. We went all online. So I've not had any issue. If you go into it saying, I don't necessarily advertise that I'm online. I advertise that I'm a tutor, a math tutor. Get them in the door that way, then talk to them about the online part.
Right, which leads us to back to school promotions, right? Because if we put on our back to school promotions, online math tutor, you can pretty much guarantee yourself you will not get one call from any of your marketing that you do.
Well, I don't know, but that's not necessary. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
It won't scare anybody away. Let's put it that way.
For whatever reason, I found like if I put it on my flyers, if I put it on that kind of stuff, like online, I got a better response not putting online on there and just putting, struggling with reading, being real specific about, some of the results that they can get and that kind of stuff. That was way more effective than telling people that it was online.
Well, right. Because you're telling them, the parents, what your worth is to them, right? The online part, they probably could give or take. They probably don't care that much. So yeah, you just have to become good at selling the online part once you talk to them. Like the online part, when I talk to my potential clients, that's like almost the last thing we ever talk about. We talk all about them and what they're looking for and what they hope for in their tutoring. And the very last thing we talk about is, oh yeah, and by the way, this is online. Yeah. Like, oh, how does that work? And then you discuss it, and then, give them a free session if they feel iffy about it. And then if you give them a free 30-minute session, they're going to be in after that. So
there you go. Yeah. And for me, like I usually am going back and forth in emails with people. And then I tell them that I do the free assessment online. So, and then we go from there. I give them the Zoom link and they come on in and then they see how easy it is. And they're like, holy cow, like this is awesome. They get to see the assessment process, which is kind of boring. And if I can sell them on the assessment process, well, then there you go.
And see, I don't do an assessment because I taught for so long. So my 30 minutes is just the time that we chit chat back and forth. I show them how whiteboard works, and half of it is showing them how the Zoom setup works. So it's just getting them comfortable with the technology. And I think also face-to-face like this, I think it's much more personal than a phone call or email. So yeah, I like it.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you can get them on that, and it's kind of like you're giving like a demo session in a way, but they're not really learning too much. They're really just learning how to use the technology.
Right.
So that they can feel comfortable with it. Yeah. I think that's a great idea.
But anyway, back to the school thing, definitely pursue the schools. Like I was thinking about this summer, more than half of my referrals come from schools. So it's totally worth it. At least at my level, at high school level, is worth it.
Yeah. And so as you're thinking about your fall promotion, back to school, getting clients, what are some of the actions that you're taking right now?
So the actions I'm taking right now is I'm contacting all the schools again. Even though they know me and they've had my contact, I want to refresh in their brain that I'm still out here doing this. So I contact all the counselors again. I make sure I'm still on all the tutoring lists, because sometimes they don't keep them accurate or somebody leaves their job. And so you may not end up on the list again. So you have to I call all the districts and make sure that I'm on all of them. Make sure my price is right and the contact info is right, because I've had that wrong. And then I sit back wondering why no one ever contacted me. I'm like, how is that possible? Who wouldn't want to contact me? Right, Joanne?
Right. I don't know. That's just crazy.
Because the website address was wrong. And so was phone number. Hello.
Oops. So they didn't write it down right.
No. So that's the main thing. The other thing I'll do is I'll contact my parents that I've had before, and I'll say, okay, we're getting geared up for the start of the year. I'm just calling to see I word it as when you'd like to continue, not if you'd like to continue, because that pushes them to do another year with me, hopefully. So I get all those contacts in, and I also mention to them, if you know of any referrals, please refer me. I'd love to have those referrals and get more people, and parents are happy to do that for you. At first, I thought you had to give them stuff to make them do that, but they don't. If you do a good job, they'll happily refer you.
Yeah. And most would actually rather you not give them something.
Really?
Yeah. So I started doing it because I was like, wow, that was really nice of them. I'm going to give them like a $20 Amazon gift card. And so I would say, hey, thank you so much for referring. Here's a $20 Amazon gift card. And I was like, I had somebody like, oh, you do not need to give me a gift card for referring your services. You are amazing. And, I'm grateful that I can give back and be able to help another student just by referring them to you.
Yeah, absolutely. The other big thing I do this time of year is I use the Nextdoor app. And I thought for a long time that didn't get me anybody, but I got a few people that I was like, I wonder how they ever found me. And they, on my registration form, I always asked them, but they hadn't said. So I talked to them later. They said, oh, we found you on the Nextdoor app. I'm like, oh, okay. And you don't have to just do your neighborhood. You can go out to 26 different neighborhoods. So that's free. That's another freebie one that you can, and mostly parents look at that for the most part. So that's a good target rich environment. So.
Yeah. And so how did you go about the Nextdoor app? Because I thought you couldn't do any kind of promotions on there.
Well, you don't put a big advertisement out there. You just say, hey, I'm looking for a couple of kids to tutor for high school or whatever your level is. Just say a couple of people, and then it's out there, and it's not like a big advertisement. You just get the word out that way. You don't, it's very, very soft sell. Like, yeah,
it's just a little message. Yep.
I don't put a picture of myself. I don't do like I would on a Facebook buy sell trade. I just a couple of sentences. And that was enough to get a few people on. So, why not? It's free.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think one of those people I've had for a year and a half now. So.
And you know what else you can do?
What?
You can ask any of the parents that are currently working for you to go on the Nextdoor app and refer you.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, because you can refer anybody. So they can say, hey, my son just had like an amazing math tutor this past summer. If you're looking for a math tutor or any referrals, let me know and I can send you her information.
Ooh, that is a good tidbit. I'm going to take that one.
Yeah. I had a lady who was starting a cleaning business that was cleaning for me for a little while, and she wanted to get more clients. I said, hey, let's try this. I'm going to put it on Nextdoor. I ended up getting her 10 new clients.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, she's like, oh my gosh, Joanne, you're like amazing.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that it definitely can work. And then you're not the one who's out there even doing it. Like they're now the ones that are passing on your information, and they already worked with you. So if that person has questions, they can ask those questions of that person, like right there, like what was it like working with her, or tell me more, or so they're doing some of the background stuff for you.
Yeah.
So that it's a hot lead by the time they come to you.
So if you've never done Nextdoor app, just so you know, most people go on there looking for referrals like landscaping or like you with house cleaning. So it is a place that you can put out referrals like that. That's a good place to go.
Yeah.
So you're not bugging people like you might like on a mom's Facebook group or something.
We've got Cindy Kirkpatrick in the house. Hey, Cindy, so glad you're here. Yes, better late than never. Cheryl's wondering, did you go to, okay, wait, we got one on Nextdoor. Did you say that as a neighbor or from a business page?
Neighbor. Go in as a neighbor. Go in as a neighbor because they need to know you. When you go in anyway, they locate where you're at. And so they only, at first it says you can only advertise within your neighborhood. That's why it's called Nextdoor, right? But then after you post something, you can stretch out to other neighborhoods, and you have, I think it's 26 different neighborhoods you can go to.
Oh.
So just go in as a neighbor and then spread it out to the other, however many you can do. I know it's 20 something. It's either 26 or 29 different neighborhoods you can go to.
Yeah. For some of the schools, Cheryl's wondering, did you ever actually go into the schools, or were you just making phone calls?
I was not making, I made phone calls to get on the tutoring list, but I did emails to all the counselors, because if you've worked in a school, you know they're crazy busy, especially this time of year. Counselors are busy with everyone coming through. So I just email them, and I haven't gone in person. The only time it's been in person was, like I said, with that home instructor thing I did, and then I'd see them in person. But you totally could. If you're going to go in person, now's a good time to go before school starts, if it hasn't started in your area yet.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it has started, those teachers are and counselors and all that, they are like already overwhelmed.
And so if you are going and school's in session, make sure you go when it's convenient to them, not you.
Right.
So go when you think they'll be the least busy, because you don't want to be the big intrusion, or that's just they're gonna say, this phone number going away, you know.
Not calling them back, spam.
And by the way, for the school things, I don't just do it at the beginning of the year. I do it, I send a refresher like at the start, when it's almost time for the first quarter to be done, and then when the semester exams are coming around. So I do it like 4 times a year, where I refresh and let them know, look, I'm still out here, people. And I know that's helped me get more people.
Yeah. Are you planning on doing Craigslist again?
I don't think I need to do Craigslist, but Craigslist is a good place to get people, and I have gotten people there.
Okay.
So if I was starting out, I would definitely do Craigslist.
Yeah, and there's a video that I created. What I'm going to do in the replay of this, you'll be able to then go on into and check out how Ram JB showed us how he does his posts and how it works to be able to get clients. And Terry kind of put her own little spin on that, was able to get clients using that strategy. If you're just getting started, it can be a really great place to go, because
it's a really great place to go.
Right, because you can put down that you only charge whatever it is that you charge, right? 20, 30, 40. Once you start getting into, the 65, 70, $75 range, you've kind of outpriced yourself.
Anything over 50, you can't get there.
Yeah.
But for someone starting out, my first year, it was perfect. That was a good place to go.
Yeah. So it's, and those are great, because that's where you can begin getting testimonials, you can begin getting referrals. And, my whole thing was like, let me start off a little bit lower with my pricing. And as I get book solid, then I will increase it. Every time I got book solid, I raised my prices.
Right.
And then I also, for myself, I increased my own self-esteem as well when it came to teaching, because I was pretty beat up from the school system. And I was kind of like, I don't know, do I have what it takes? And will I be able to do this? And can I do it online? I had the same fear.
It's hard to imagine for you, because you're so confident now and know what to do with everything, but I believe you.
Well, we all start at the beginning, right?
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And so, yeah, I was definitely there. I mean, I came from a school where 30% of our kids were reading on grade level, and I was in charge of the reading program. I actually had a friend who said to me at one point, she was asking about schools in Milwaukee, and she was asking about my school and the reading scores. I'm like, oh, our reading scores are down. They're awful. We have 30% of our kids reading on grade level. And she was like, and you're the reading specialist?
Oh, ouch.
She's like, that's uncalled for. Like, those kinds of things shouldn't even exist and I mean, just from like a friend perspective, I was like, I just felt like my hands were tied. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
There were just so many things. And so not only did I hear those kinds of comments from people, but you hear it from the school system and the test. And then there's the fear that your school's going to close down because your test scores are so low. And then teacher turnover. We had so much teacher turnover that it was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So I came in with a lot of fear, and today I'm so grateful that I was able to come on to the other side. So I just want to let you guys know, if you are on that side of fear right now, where maybe you feel like you were beat up by the school system, that, you didn't, or you had a bad experience, or you're sick of the politics and you want to be able to do tutoring online, you're not sure if you can do it, know that we've all started from that point. And it's amazing when you can get onto the other side. So we've got some great things. We got contacting schools, contacting your past students, asking for referrals, the Nextdoor app, Craigslist. Anything else on your list that you're thinking about doing for this back to school year?
I may throw out another, I know people on our group don't like me saying this, but I'm probably going to throw out another Facebook buy sell trade, because I have gotten a few people there, and everyone I've gotten there has been such a good parent and good clients. So you know what? It's free, so why not? It takes me 5 minutes, boom, it's up. So I will probably do another Facebook buy sell trade. I know people say, oh, you can never get anybody there. Well, you got to make it work for you. You got to think differently than everybody else. That's what makes you stand out. So,
right. And it comes down to, you really have a great strategy too, with the how to format that ad for the Facebook buy sell trade so that it doesn't look spammy. I think some people are, they're being seen as being spammy the way that they're going about it. And so there is a tactic that you need to utilize to go there. So
yeah.
Here's the thing, you're going to try lots of things to be able to, at least I hope so. I hope you're going to try lots of things. Okay. Like, don't just try like one thing, or like put all of your eggs in one basket, or just go to one website like Wise Ant, who's going to take like a lifetime 25% of your take home pay for life on every single student, you know.
And by the way, before you leave that topic, the reason I never was successful there, I think, is because I had no way to stand out from everybody else. It was just a sea of tutors there, and you can't do any self-promotion really there. So you're at the mercy of who finds you. So
yeah. And then when you do, yeah. And I don't like the way it's set up. So it has like, instead of us really being able to connect with the client that has a struggling student, there's the first section that they see about the tutor is the about me section. So it's all about me, right? Like, I forgot this many years of teaching, blah, 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 blah. It's all boring content. Nobody is like attracted to that. How do you stand out, right? If I read one more thing that says that I love when I get those light bulb moments, I will smash that light bulb. It's like, okay, everybody says that. Everybody says that. And they use that exact terminology too.
I mean, I know people make livings over there, but it kills me to think about giving them 25%. Why would I want to give them 25% when I can find my own people?
Yeah.
It's not like you need hundreds of clients. You need like a good 20 to 30 to be fully booked, or whatever fully booked is for you, even if it's less. So you don't need to go, I mean, you just don't need to give them the 25%. It just, I don't know if that's me being miserly, but it's like, this is my business. I want all my own money that I can make, you know, because that's my profit.
Or invest the money that you would give on over to them into learning how to market yourself so that you can be able to get all of your own clients. You know, right. I think that's really, really pivotal. And just anybody who's wondering, coming in September, I am going to be releasing the autopilot series, how to turn your online tutoring business on autopilot. So you'll be able to see that. And I will be opening up the doors to the Insider Secrets Club once again, so that anybody who wants to be able to join us will be able to join us for that. So we've got people wondering, like, how do you get found overseas and different time zones?
Well, I don't know about overseas because I haven't crushed that yet, but I honestly don't know how hard I worked at that part yet. But I do have clients all across the country. Some of them I got from just blasting out on my Facebook friends. You know, do you know of anybody that needs a tutor? It can be in any state. And my friends shared it with other friends, and that's how I got people across the whole country. I go East Coast to West Coast, everywhere across the place, because I'm trying to go full time. The other thing is Craigslist. You can post in other cities for Craigslist, and I've gotten other people from other cities that way. I used to do Thumbtack, but can't do Thumbtack anymore. Boo. But the other thing is you can contact schools. My strategy for contacting schools locally, I also do to other states. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I was going to say this before, try to target places you know people have some money. Like private schools is a really good place because the private schools aren't really that big. but generally people have money to spend on a tutor there. So that's kind of a target rich environment. You can do that across all the states. And I imagine that kind of a strategy would work overseas, but I know you do overseas. So what do you do?
I do. So when I got started doing, I used keywords. So that was my big thing. And I volunteered in classrooms reading books inside of the classrooms. And there was, at that time, it was called Skype in the Classroom. I think it still exists. And what I would do is I would go on there and I'd look for teachers that were looking for visitors. And I would just say, hey, I am an online reading tutor and I really want to promote reading. That's like one of my initiatives in life, is just to continue to inspire and get kids excited about reading. And what teacher doesn't love that as somebody's goal, right? And so I didn't mention anything about promoting my tutoring services or anything like that, but I would say, hey, would it be okay if I tape our session and use it on my YouTube channel to show me reading to other kids and stuff? And they said, sure. So then I would use my keywords with that country and where these kids were located. And it would be like online reading tutor, Australia, or where I specifically was in Australia. And I
actually put the country in there?
I sure did.
Oh, smart.
And I got, I ended up getting my very first student from Australia. So they found that video, and that's how the content ended up spreading to be able to get other students. And I've since have gotten students from other countries as well, from Brazil, from London, from Canada, Dominican Republic, lots of different places. And that's where your online presence becomes huge. So if you don't have an online presence, don't expect to get clients from other places. But when you start creating an online presence, you do open up your services to the entire world, where anybody can find you. And then you can decide, do I want to work with that specific country or not? Now, there's certain little tricks that you can use for finding clients. Like I know that Cambridge academic tuition, that you are out there in the UK, we don't call it, if you're doing like, let's say math tutoring, we don't call it maths tutoring or maths tuition. We call it math tutoring here in the US. So knowing the keywords that country uses can help you then get found, because they'll be typing it in the way that you're saying it. So finding the right keywords for that is can be pivotal. But that's how I started breaking through into the other countries, and then they began referring me, and it just continued to spread.
Yeah, that's good. I should have added, my website definitely brings in people from all over the country.
Yeah,
that's where I get a chunk of them too. But yeah, that's good to add those keywords. I mean, so do you think people are finding you through your YouTube mostly, or your website, as far as from being from other countries?
It is from all different places, and this is why we talk about like not really putting all of your eggs in one basket, trying lots of different strategies, and then sticking with the ones that you feel are working the best. I definitely have people today who are still finding me from those videos that I created. I never took any of them down. So if you guys are interested to see what I look like back at the beginning, I've left those all up there. Just scroll back to, the first 100 videos that I created.
100. We are not worthy, Miss Joanne.
I think I'm up to like 500 videos now that I've created on YouTube. But I mean, now it's obviously all focused on you guys and tutoring, and not really advertising my services. But I think sometimes even with me advertising my tutoring services to just talking about the tutoring world and the tutoring industry and still creating content out there, I do think that still continues to get me found by people, because I have had people who have purchased the Reading Interventionist program that they don't feel ready yet. And then they're like, hey, I have a niece or a nephew that's struggling. Would you be able to work with them? Or, I get referrals, through that way, even though I'm not specifically creating content out there to get found for the reading tutoring. So
I also think it's really important what you said. If you're not trying to get clients from everywhere you possibly can think of, you won't get book solid, chances are. Yeah. I mean, because there's not going to be a flood from one way. You're not going to get a flood of people from Craigslist or a flood of people from the schools. You got to put them out everywhere, and then just enough dribble in to get you book solid. That's really important for someone starting out. Don't just go a one way. Like, don't just do flyers. Flyers are great, but they're not going to get you tons. You know, you got to think outside the box. What are all the different ways you can promote yourself? And then as you build up your online presence, that will become more, like you said, self-sufficient. Find people.
Exactly. And then people just start calling you and you're like, how did they find my information? I had somebody yesterday who their sister has cerebral palsy.
Mm.
And she's like, I'm curious to know if you'd be able to help her. And, you know, so then I was able to kind of, actually, I did research before to see it. Could I help? No, I've never.
Yeah, exactly.
You said that she didn't have like a severe case of it, that it was a real mild case of it. And so then I did research and I said, okay, it looks like these are the two things that I need to be able to look for to determine if I can help her. And so I researched that, I shared it with her, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But it's amazing the opportunities that just open up to you when you think about every single strategy right now. And you don't have to do that long term for the rest of your life, for the rest of your career, because, you know, after a while, people are just going to start finding you accidentally.
And that's the thing. When you first start out, that's not happening to you. You hear someone like Joanne say that and you're like, that's never going to happen for me. But the longer you're in, I'm only going into my third school year, and already it's starting to snowball and things are happening that I don't have to. I put in all the crush of work at the beginning, but now it's starting. People are calling me from all these different places. And I'm like, where did you find me? And that's a beautiful thing, because you know you put in all the work in all these different places. So
Right.
it will happen to you. It just, you know, it takes a little bit of time. But even at, you know, second school year done, I'm still getting people this way and more. So
yeah.
that's
And there's a lot of people that they'll say things. I you know what I think happens sometimes for people? They just run out of ideas or strategies or things to try. Like they don't know what to try, or they think, oh, I don't have a lot of time to really put on into it. But, you know, I talk about time all the time, you guys, because look, if you don't have time to put into getting students, you don't have time to teach them. So the time that you would be teaching them, put that time on into getting them. So if you want to work from the hours of 9 to 5, then work during the hours of 9 to 5 to be able to get those students.
Right.
Right. And then what you're going to find is you start thinking about, okay, it's 9 o'clock right now. Where in the world else could I work with a student that's not in school right now? If that's an hour that you want to work, right? You start thinking differently. You start thinking, okay, so I either want to work with homeschool maybe, or I want to work with students from this country, wherever that is. What kind of content could I create specifically for that group of people? And be intentional about it.
And by the way, I'll throw in another tidbit on that front. I got a homeschool person this summer because last fall, I was looking around in a homeschool Facebook group and they were having a big convention or whatever it's called. And I said, and they'd mentioned something about a raffle. And I said, whoa, can I put like 3 free hours of tutoring in the raffle? Because, oh, we'd love that. So I put that in there, never heard anything until last May. And then now I've had this kiddo all summer. We meet twice a week. I mean, so just think about how you can connect with other people, because you just never know when it's going to pay off.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like one other strategy I'm going to try too that I haven't tried yet is PTA. I'm going to hit up the PTAs and see if I can get the word out that way also, because I've not tried that yet, but I think that might work.
Yeah, if you were to build.
Those are all parents. Those are the people I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not.
Yeah. Well, and you could even, they have, you know, when they hold a PTA meeting, you could offer to do a free session on strategies to help your child with math.
Yeah.
Say, hey, do you ever have people that come on in and speak and help parents with ways to be able to help their, you know, your kid? I would love to be able to come on in and be able to hold a free workshop or a free, you know, 20-minute info session on strategies you can try to help your child.
Yeah, absolutely. You just have to think outside of the box.
Yeah, absolutely. I did Bandit Signs when I first started. So anybody who doesn't know what a bandit sign is.
Your bandit signs.
Gotta put that out there. It worked, you know?
I know. I want to hear all about it. Come on. Tell us what's good.
So I just went to like cheapsigns.com at the time. I don't know if Cheap Signs exists right now. Okay, so don't like quote me, like, but it was something like that, cheapsigns.com. And I ended up just putting reading tutoring on there. and I put something like, we'll close the gap in a zap, I think at the time I put, and then my phone number. And that's it. It was like real big. I made it yellow because I was like, we get a lot of snow here in Wisconsin. I want it to stick out. Yellow sticks out. Very big wording, because I noticed that on other people's signs, that their signs were very like, you can't read it when you're in a car.
Right.
So you want to think about like, what can I read when I'm in a car, that I'd be able to quickly do it. And now, I mean, if somebody were in the passenger seat, if you even had like a QR code on there, it could like, you could have something where they could just like scan it.
Well, you'd have to be good though, wouldn't you, to be.
Yeah, right. But usually like where you put,
if you're stopped somewhere though, you could.
yeah. I was gonna say, so most of the time where you see those signs is where people are stopped. They are usually at stop signs, versus like the political ones. Sometimes you just see them randomly on the side of the road, that kind of stuff. So it's just a thought. I don't know. Like I haven't tried it with a QR code, but it could work. I know definitely with the flyers, it works to have the QR code on there.
But the other thing on Bandit Signs, because I was going to do that and I couldn't do it in my area because it's not legal. But if it's legal in your area, do it. It's a good way to get started.
Well, technically they say it's not legal in most areas, but you know how you see those sections where they do have a lot of them? That's where you put them.
I know, but I don't want to get arrested. Come on, don't lead us down a crime road.
Okay.
You're right, though. You're right.
I didn't get arrested. Some people don't.
Maybe that's why she can't teach in the school anymore.
Because I don't want to. There was a really smart tutor in our group one time. She's like, oh yeah, I put Bandit signs up all the time. And before they collect the sign, she goes, I go the night before and I grab my sign so I get to repurpose it and reuse it.
How does she figure out when they do that?
She tracked it. She's like, oh, every Monday night they come. So I'm gonna grab my sign Monday morning and I'll put it back out Tuesday morning.
Wow, good for her.
I know. I was like, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Although I do think it helps for people to not see your sign for a little while too, like to kind of have it on out there, take it away, and then like put it back on out. So that definitely helps.
The other thing I was going to mention on getting clients is within our group, start connecting with people. Like I know there's a lot of people in our groups that just sit back and watch everything. But if you interact, like at least for me, when I've been in Insiders, I interact all the time. And even on the Ultimate Sport group, interact with people. That's how people get to know you. And that's how I get to know people. And when I find somebody that I really respect and it's somebody I need a tutoring for, like I have a student right now that I'm doing SAT tutoring, and I'd been doing math, but he's going into AP calculus, and I didn't feel comfortable doing that because it's been 15 years. Well, then I found Alan, who's in our group, and I'd been watching all his comments and all the things he did. I'd watched his videos, and I knew he was the perfect fit for this kid. So then I was able to refer him over. And I've had people just contact me and want me to refer people, and I won't do it. So get yourself out there so people know who you are, and you can get a few referrals that way too. Joanne's given me a referral once, and I got one kid, then I got her brother, and this year I'm getting all three of them. So, you just don't know where that could go. And I know you wouldn't refer me if you didn't know me a little bit.
Well, and I think that's the thing, like as tutors, we feel like this is our baby, this is our business, right? And if we refer somebody who's not up to par of what we would consider a good tutor, we feel a little like that's on us, that we didn't take the time to be able to refer somebody that was a good quality tutor. And I do feel that in the Insider Secrets Club, we've had the opportunity to really get to know each other because of the live calls, because of the workshops, because of all the work that we do together, that we've had that opportunity to really build some of those strong bonds. I know some people in the Ultimate Support group, they've been able to build some relationships with people on the side as well. And they've been able to refer some other tutors and that kind of stuff, or they've put a mention in there. There's now the Tutors Help Tutors page that you can check out on Facebook that you'll be able to share different content that is like your best content you've created that other tutors can share. And you can mention it to other people, and that can be another way to really kind of get on out there. I know that James has really been working hard on creating that page and really getting tutors to collaborate. I do feel like the more that we can collaborate as tutors, And the less that we compete, the more book solid we'll be.
Oh yeah, because you don't need tons of people. There's plenty of people out there that need tutoring.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
But even still, like even just put comments out there. When you have an opinion about something in our group, put it out there. That's how we get to know you.
Yeah.
It's not just about directly asking people to get you clients. It's about letting people getting to know you. And then people will say, well, she sounds like she'd be a good fit for this kind of person.
Yeah.
That's how you kind of figure out how to refer people, I think.
Yeah, the more that you're active, whether it's in the Ultimate Support Group or the Insider Secrets Club,
right, either
the
group.
more that you're active, the more that you get seen by other tutors, the more you have the opportunity to be able to get referred by those people. So I do think like being active is going to be absolutely pivotal. You can't just post once in a while here and there and then be like, well, this doesn't work. Now, a great point that somebody else made, Paul Morgan had said, do you track how your students find you? And I think this is an amazing idea. Definitely keep a spreadsheet. On your spreadsheet, write down all of the ways that you are trying to be able to get clients. And then when those clients begin to contact you, ask them how they found you. That
Uh-oh, Joanne Freeze, but I agree with that. And I do track that myself. So I do on my registration form, I have a spot where I ask them how they found me, and I track every single person. And the places I find where they really hit us really well, then I will put a lot of effort into those when I get back through. Are you back?
I'm back. Yeah, but I was talking that whole time.
I talked too during that whole time, so we don't know until we see the replay who actually got to talk.
Oh, it was you, because I lost my internet.
Oh, well, I continued on with the registration and how to track it and all that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. See, this is what makes us such a great team. And you know what, you guys, on Tuesday, Terry is going to be sharing about some additional strategies, going into more details on a webinar. I'm going to put the link right in here for you guys so that you guys can sign up for that if that's something that you are interested in doing. Oh, let me go back on here and grab the link and put it on in paste. There we go. And you'll be able to begin thinking about some other strategies. And like I said, like today, we really just shouted out some ideas, right? We didn't go through the how to, and we're going to be going into more details on that webinar on Tuesday. So definitely come join us for that. You will not be, you will not feel like it's a waste of your time. That is for sure. So definitely come join us. Okay. And if you've already joined us in the past and you want to join us again, definitely join us again. You're always welcome. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. I know that your book's solid all the time. And so for you to, take some time on out and share the strategies that have worked for you in the past and are currently working for you now.
Thank you, because I'm going to go research keywords for other countries now that you give me that tidbit. So I'll be busy today.
Well, have fun. And now you can start getting creative. Like, what kind of content can I create? How can I connect with that? Maybe there's some other schools out there that I can connect with, right? You just never know. All right, you guys. Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see all of you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.